Okay, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss show. Now, two things. I'm annoyed, and and also I'm like really talking about serious subjects, but why I'm annoyed? First, it's hot, alright? And second, I'm having to do multiple takes of this one podcast once again, and it's just annoying how many times I have to do multiple takes. I don't know why I do it, but it's just really annoying, alright? So, if I mess up, oh well, alright? And y'all just gonna have to deal with me messing up because I can't do no more takes of this. I'm trying to move on and do other things. Not that I'm trying to rush through this, but I just don't want to sit down and waste more of my time today because I really just wasted a lot of time. But anyways, today I'm going to be talking about video games. Now, I originally was going to make a podcast talking about my favorite video games, but I feel like that this one should come first. The other one, it can happen later on down the road. But, so today, well, actually yesterday, and I think also yesterday. So two mass shootings had happened within the 24-hour period. And, this some guy, Kevin McCarthy, he had blamed video games and not guns for these mass shootings. Now, if you know me, like you've known me for some time, you probably at some point in time have played Call of Duty with me or played some video game where it involved like shooting and stuff. You've played some shooting game with me, alright? Or I've talked about a movie that involves shooting, okay? Overall, y'all have seen me, like, involved in some, well, I wouldn't say that I am violent, but you guys have either seen me talk about it or play something violent, okay? Never once did I ever thought, like, or brought up, oh, I should go out and do a mass shooting. Like, I just don't understand, like, how can you blame video games for something like, and it's like, that's why I see when they do stuff like that, it's like they're trying to bring in their own personal hatred for something. Like, the closest and similar thing that they can honestly bring up within this whole subject, then that's what they're gonna be all like, oh, video games. I hate video games. I don't understand why. And I overall think that it probably might have something to do with this kid winning $3 million off of Fortnite. But, it's like, I honestly think that people think that, oh, it's, these kids are winning all this money, they shouldn't be doing that, they should be out getting an education. Like, they're trying to think everything wrong with a situation like that where a kid just pretty much helped out, like, all of his family and stuff. I think there's, like, that kid went and bought a house for his mom and stuff. But, no. Then you got people like Kevin McCarthy, and he's trying to get everybody away from video games. And to all parents out there, if you're like teeter-tottering like, oh, should I buy video games like, that's rated them for my kids, or should I wait until they get older? Either way, a kid's gonna play those games. Like, either way, or at some point in time in their life, they're going to play games like that. But the thing is, because they're trying to like say like the kids playing these video games are the one to blame for these mass shootings. Mass shootings have been happening for the longest with different ages, alright? And honestly, I don't blame video games, and it might sound wrong for me to say something like this, I don't know, but it's these mental people out here that's like roaming the streets and things. They're the ones that we have to worry about, because you'll see so many situations where it's like, it ain't even a mass shooting, but it's somebody that has snapped. They've somehow came across a weapon, and they just go out and start attacking random people. For those that don't know me, I live out in Seattle. So you're always hearing stories and stuff of people going crazy and things. Some homeless man got a hold of a knife, started stabbing random people. Just not too long ago, down the street from my job, this crazy dude came up across some other people and stabbed a few people in front of one of my like job locations. And then he just started like running up and down the street. You think like, and I don't know, like it does happen in video games and stuff, but I highly doubt that Grand Theft Auto 5 was running through his mind when he decided to do what he did. And it's like, one would think that parents should be telling their kids like, oh, okay, like, stuff like this is not good. You know, like playing these games, like, yeah, it's one thing to play in a video game, no problem, but to go out and do it, like, that's bad. Don't do that, all right? Because my parents, they told me that numerous times. Every time they bought me the newest Call of Duty, the newest Grand Theft Auto, mainly with Grand Theft Auto, because that was the one game where it's like they were bringing it up in the news a lot, especially San Andreas. But yeah, they were bringing it up in the news a lot. That games like that are bad, all right? So yeah, it's my thing is, it's like I don't know, I never really seen those games like bad, because it was just me. My thing is like video games, just like cigarettes, alcohol, or anything else that you would consider a stress reliever. That's what video games are. Okay, you got all these other bad things that's going on in there, and video games, like, how I just don't understand how you could put video games up there and stuff. So yeah, I don't understand that. But anyways, yeah, so I'm gonna title this podcast "Are Video Games Bad?" And I'm just gonna go over some things. I feel like I might have went over everything, but I'm gonna go over them again, all right? Because that's what I just feel like doing. But anyways, so first thing I wrote down were video games causing shootings. Obviously, no, video games aren't causing shootings. And I mentioned that mental illnesses are causing shootings. Okay, I've never once played Fortnite, Madden, Call of Duty, Destiny, any of my favorite video games. And I played quite a few video games. You know what? I'm going to talk about one video game that's one of my favorites, and it's actually like a good message, okay? Overall, it is a good message. But there's this game I play called The Division. Now, in that game, you are this special agent saving the world, right? You got all these, like, monstrous bad people out there pretty much in the game. Like, you're killing people with mental illnesses and stuff, all right? And I'm not saying like that's the way of taking out a person with mental illnesses and things, but obviously if they're going crazy and shooting everybody and you have a gun and it's either you or them, like, yeah, you have a right to defend yourself. But in that game, all right, you're going around, you're killing these people that's holding other people hostages. In that game, I've killed people that was setting other people on fire. There was people like beating people with bats. Like, there was overall just some like crazy, just really bad people in there. But you're this agent saving the world. There's times where I was giving out, because I know in the first one you could give out like clothes, you could give out food, items that they need, and it's like overall you're helping people. That's the whole like just main objective of the game. You're helping people. All right. So I don't see how a game like if it's games like that that's causing these mass shootings, then there's like a miscommunication, because it's just not that to me just doesn't make any sense. That game's out here like teaching people to protect those around you. I feel like that's overall like the message behind the game. I don't see how a game like that can cause somebody to go out and perform like on bad people, maybe, but I just don't see how that game, like a game like that, can cause a man to go out and perform mass shootings. Call of Duty, one of the biggest games ever, and if you've never played Call of Duty, so Call of Duty, pretty much another one of those like save the world type video games, but for the most part, in every Call of Duty that I've ever played, you're always playing a soldier taking out terrorists. I think there was one time where they had it where you do play it as a terrorist, and you go into this airport and start shooting a bunch of people, but they let you know beforehand, do you want to play this mission, yes or no? And it's cool that they give you that option, because I would imagine that, like, you know, yeah, stuff like that, it can't get to a person's head, but it's not like, okay, I skip it in this game. It's not like they're not going to talk about that on the news. Or it's like a person's going to tell me about like a situation like that. Like, it's stuff like that you just can't avoid. Everything that happens in video games, it's happening in real life. So running over people, stabbing people, shooting people, all that stuff that they're showing in video games, it's going to happen in this world too. It's going to happen outside of a video game. So I don't see how it's like you could compare the two. Video games is like, what, been out for 30, 40 years? And the human race have been around for like millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of years. Humans have always been killing humans, animals, everything else that they can possibly kill. Video games ain't the cause of it, alright? So anyways, next thing I wrote down, if they was that bad, why are we playing them? And so the reason why I wrote that down is because if video games are the cause of mass shootings, why are they being sold on shelves? Why are kids going in there with their mom or dad asking them, hey, can you get me the new Call of Duty? Hey, can you get me the latest Grand Theft Auto? Hey, can you get me this rated M video game that involves shooting? And that's pretty much like 90% of every video game out there, from rated E games to rated teen games to rated M games. They all involve some sort of shooting, alright? Fortnite is probably the one game where kids can play it, adults can play it, anybody can play that game, alright? And I would have to say it's probably like one of the most like kid-friendliest game out there. But it involves shooting. You're shooting somebody, alright? But blood and guts and all this other stuff ain't splattered all over the place. Overall, you're just building towers and just shooting people, alright? And you're just... and I see it as this. Like, if you're playing these games with friends, like having fun, you know, overall I feel like that's playing video games. Like, that's what it's all about. You're having fun. Like, you're not playing video games to, like, oh, let me practice to be a mass murderer and stuff. Because even in video games, like, there's flaws and things in them. So, I need some water real quick. Throat's a little dry. Hold on. Okay. Yep. That hit the spot. But, anyways, yeah, video games, it's like, I played them with my friends. We've always had fun. And I've like, even when I do play video games by myself, I more see it as a stress reliever. Alright? Like, I just came back, went back to my house after a long day of work, stressed out, dealing with rude customers left and right. I mean, I'm not saying all the customers are rude, but then there's that one that just kind of like, you know, just ruins my day and things. So I go home, and I don't necessarily play a shooting game. I might play a racing game. Like, it ain't like shooting games are the only type of games that exist. Latest game I've been playing a lot of is Madden NFL 20. So so here's the thing, right? Because the video games cause you to do like what they like promote in the game. So I'm playing Madden, right? Is that gonna promote me to go out and tackle people with a football uniform? No. Like, it's just everybody when they play a video game, it's because my thing is because I know I can't do it in real life. So I just play the video game version, alright? I know I'm not going to go like the one game, Destiny. I know I'm not going to go to the moon, or I'm not going to go to any other crazy planet on there and be killing some weird aliens. I know I'm not going to do that. So that's why I'm perfectly fine in Washington State, that's a part of planet Earth, in the comfort of my own house, playing the alien shooter game. But I'm not going to go out of my way and find aliens and stuff. And it's like, even with they made a video game about storming Area 51. I overall feel like that they came out with that game so people won't really be doing stuff like that in real life. I hope they don't. But, yeah, like, video games, not all of them are, like, bad and stuff. So that's just like, when they say stuff like, oh, video games are to blame and stuff, okay, then why are they still being sold on shelves? Like, why can't I go, why am I still allowed to go into GameStops and buy the newest shooting game that's everybody's talking about? Like, that's the questions I would like, this Kevin McCarthy, like, that's the type of stuff that I would like to bring up to this man, because if it was that bad, they wouldn't be sold on shelves. So, and it's like that with everything else. Everything ain't perfect. Everything has flaws. So that's why it's like video games, like, that's like the one thing that I feel like it ain't gonna hurt anybody if they play like a couple of games of any game that they want to play. Even those that don't even really, because there's a coworker that I work with, he doesn't even really play. It's funny because he makes fun of us for playing video games and stuff, but even he's told me he's played some sort of video games in his life. Like, he said he was playing like original Nintendo, then he was playing like arcade games and stuff. So he played some sort of games. Like, there's people out, you don't necessarily have to like games, but it's like, play them, give them a try. Like, understand, like, not all of them are bad. Like, you don't have to play shooting games, you could play other games and stuff. There's probably kids, adults, and everybody there are like, oh, I don't like shooting games, I like racing games, I like sport games, I like playing those games and things. I suck at Call of Duty, I suck at all these Battlefield and all these other shooting games. So I play games that I know I'm good at. I actually do it in real life, and I play the video game version of it. So anyways, I saw another thing I wrote down. Mass shootings happen long before video games, long before any of these games, because I think somebody had mentioned that Fortnite was the one to blame for like the recent mass shootings and stuff. Fortnite just came out maybe like 2 years ago. Alright, and if we're talking Call of Duty, Call of Duty's been out for a while, but mass shootings had happened long before Call of Duty. Long before Grand Theft Auto. Long before any shooting game out there. Okay? And I honestly feel like, this is just my opinion about shooting games, I felt like that shooting games had to be created so people won't go out and do these things. But everybody wants to put out this bad message about shooting games and all these other games like Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto, so for those that don't know about that game, because I've mentioned that a few times, so Grand Theft Auto is pretty much like, okay, like I was going to mention another game, but it's a like simulation thing, I guess. Like, I don't know how to really describe it, but you just go out and break the most crimes you can. You kill cops, you kill people, you drive cars at high speeds, you take jets, planes, like you take all these things, boats, you just go crazy in that game. Like, that's pretty much like a real life, like, if you've seen that movie The Purge, that's what that game is like. Like, everybody has gone mad, especially if you play it online. People have lost their mind in that game, okay? You can't go anywhere. If you play online, you can't go anywhere and not get shot and killed by some random person, or they attach some C4 to your car and blow it up, okay? But do you think, and if that's the case where it's like you're gonna blame Grand Theft Auto, what 9-year-old kid do you know that is capable of having C4 and attaching it to a car? Like, that's like the whole thing about video games. Like, they don't teach you everything. Like, there's stuff that they leave out. Like, you think it'd just be that easy, attach a C4, and then you just press a button and the whole car explodes? No, I'm pretty sure there's a lot more to it, alright? So that's why it's like, yeah, video games, like, y'all can't blame video games. This stuff has been happening, like, long before. Long before. Because was the Columbine shooting, Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty wasn't out then. And those are the two games that they always talk about. At least with Grand Theft Auto, I feel like Call of Duty, they don't mention it as much, but Grand Theft Auto, that's the one game where I remember there was times I would be watching the news with my parents, and they would be talking about that game. And my parents, like, they seen it. They told me, like, hey, you can play these games, you just can't do that type of stuff in real life, like, unless you want to die, or, yeah, get killed by some cop, because you don't went going around killing people or get sent to prison for the rest of your life for the death penalty. Like, my parents overall told me about that type of stuff. But anyways, next thing I wrote down, why are video games to blame? Like, why is that, like, everybody's, like, go-to thing? Like, oh, it's these games. Like, that's like a mass shooting happens, or somebody performs some shooting and things. They're like, oh, it's these games. These games are to blame and stuff. Like, it's like if a drive-by shooting happened and stuff, and they're all like, oh, that's video games be doing that type of stuff. Drive-by shootings have been happening for the longest. Long before Grand Theft Auto or any other game that has been promoting drive-by shootings and stuff. So I just, yeah, I don't see how, I just don't see, like, why video games are to blame for, like, the stuff that's, like, and it's just, like, these situations are so serious that that's, like, the pettiest thing that you can say is, like, blaming a video game. It just, like, to me, like, somebody's gonna have to sit down and explain that one to me, because I'm not understanding it. Like, I'm like, as I'm sitting down doing this podcast, I'm just not understanding why video games are to blame. And it's like, there's so many different types of games. Like, dude, that's all I had to probably ask that Kevin McCarthy guy. Like, have you sat down and played video games? Like, because it's one thing if you see your kids playing it, but have you sat down and played it? And I'm not necessarily saying, like, go out and, like, buy a game and play it, but I'm just saying, like, if you've never played a video game, and then you're blaming these video games, like, or blaming these video games for these mass shootings, like, at that point in time, you have to play a video game. You have to. You have to listen to the story that they're providing in the game. You have to, like, play it and, like, actually know what's going on and stuff in order for you to make assumptions like that. Because every video game that I've played, I don't think I've ever thought about doing a mass shooting. So that's what it's like. It's just like doing this podcast. It's like, it's just, to me, it's just so confusing. Like, I can't wrap my head around this. Like, something serious just happened. Like, we need to try to figure out what's going on in this man's head so we can prevent stuff like this from happening in the future. We need to come out with some technology that warns us of this stuff. We need to like do something, because I seen this post and they show like all these different countries and the amount of mass shootings that they had. There's countries that had 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. America, United States of America, we had over 200 mass shootings, and I think all of them had happened this year. 200 mass shootings in the year. It's like we're only 8 months in the year. Like in the video games, like it's like, man, it's people like when they say things like that, like I know you can't be believing in your own hype. Like that's why I'm like, people just stand like so strong behind stuff that they say, and it's like, I know you can't believe that. I know you can't. And that's why I honestly think, like, when people be saying things like that, they just have a hatred for video games, and they're just trying to do whatever they can to make sure, like, oh, parents don't buy their kids games. But you got people my age, like, yeah, 20 in their 20s and things, where they are able to buy their own games. Yeah. I'm not going to stop buying games. I'm not going to stop buying shooter games, because I already know the type of mindset that I have. It's these people with mental illnesses, okay? They should be the ones probably not playing these games, all right? Because then it's like, yeah, they might get some form of practice from it and stuff, but it's overall people with mental illnesses, okay? People like myself, like, yeah, or any of my friends, like, we're not going. I talked about this on Facebook with some of my friends, and they're just all like, I like doubt the times they play Call of Duty. And I was like, they're saying that, oh, spending hours on end playing these games, that's what caused these kids to do that. There was times, all right, in high school, well, I remember when I started playing Call of Duty, up all night. Like, there was like my best friend Ryan, my friend John. Who else in our friend group? Pretty much like everybody but I just remember like both of them, and it was my friend, it was my other friend, Tyler, and we like my friend Tyler, he went and got me, so he got me into like quick scoping, but he was like, overall, we were like playing hours of Call of Duty. Never that thing, oh, I should go out and get a sniper rifle and start quick scoping people. Or the hours I played Battlefield and Call of Duty with my two of my best friends, John and Ryan, I never thought, oh, like, we can go out and do stuff like this. Never that I mentioned that. If anything, I was yelling at them because they were killing me too much, okay? Like, that's I feel like the only anger I get from those games, like raging. Like, I'm mad at the game, I'm not mad at the world. Like, and that's why I feel like, yeah, that mental illness stuff, like, people, they just have, like, this hatred for the world and stuff, and then they feel like, oh, like, then they play these games, and maybe that's somehow connected, but yeah, it's like, you have to have a mental illness, I believe, to be doing some stuff like that. But anyways, I wrote down, do parents talk with their kids? I honestly feel like that if you got these guys doing, mass shootings, yeah, there's probably, their parents aren't talking with them about how, like, dangerous this stuff is. Because it's like, yeah, I think they said somebody as young as, like, yeah, it was a baby, it was an infant, 4 months old. They were, like, one of the victims of this El Paso, like, shooting and stuff. So it's like, yeah, they're not, like, their parents aren't, like, telling them, or they're just not being, I don't know, me, I wouldn't want to, like, scar my kid, but I definitely would let him know, like, what's going on in the world, and why stuff like this is bad. And it's like, it's just like, yeah, it's, it's not good for, like, both parties, those that are the victims and the person that's the suspect. It's not good for the both of them when it's like one's, like, losing their life, an innocent person's losing their life, and then it's like you had your whole life ahead of you. You could have done anything in this world, and you decide that you're going to take somebody's life for no reason whatsoever. And I think this was overall because this guy was a Trump supporter. And I think they said that he targeted Mexican people, or he targeted Hispanic people. So if anything, all right, because if it was like, yeah, if this guy ain't even got no mental illnesses, it's the message that Trump is trying to put out, saying like, oh, all illegal immigrants, or all Hispanic people, all these other things, that all these other, like, names I want to call them and stuff, they don't need to be in America. Like, when you say messages like that, that's what go out and causes these people to go and kill, like, a bunch of, because it wasn't even too long ago. The guy, he did that, targeted a bunch of Hispanic people. I think it was at a barbecue or something, was shooting and killing them and things. And it's like, yeah, then today there's yesterday with the El Paso shooting, there's like the guy, he was targeting Hispanic people. So it's the messages that people probably be giving out. Maybe it's the parents that be telling them, but they probably don't tell them like, oh, you can't do stuff like that. It's like, all right, go ahead, be racist, say what you want to say and things, but taking their lives, like, no, like that's not cool. That's not cool. So it's like just upsetting, you know, like I try to like avoid talking about stuff like this because all it just does is just make me mad and things that it's like people are losing their lives because of their like other people's beliefs and stuff. Like it's just stupid. But anyways, yeah, I wrote down like some of these kids have mental illnesses, which is yeah, true. And then I wrote down all video games aren't bad, which is that's facts. Like all video games aren't bad because you got racing games, sport games, you got a bunch of other different games out there. It's like they don't teach you like bad. And there's like a lot of games out there too, even Grand Theft Auto, and they overall be telling the story and that, like, yeah, if you going around running over people and stuff, then that's on you, but you play the game and the storyline in it, and it's like you're out here, like I feel like every video game that I've played, you're always killing a bad guy. Like and I think it's like even if you are like the bad guy in the game, like what, it's a like rated E game, and it's like usually like one of those like hero versus villain games. I think the only game where I've seen where you can play as a bad guy is what was like Lego DC Villains or something like that. Like I was like, that was like the latest game I've seen where it's like you play as a bad guy, but it's Legos. Like it's and the game is rated E for everyone, so obviously it's for kids and stuff. Like yeah, it's just like, and then yeah, so I'm just gonna go over like all the games I got next to me right now. Starting off with Super Mario Smash Bros. Like, yeah, we're talking about Mario. I guess it's promoting fighting, but I highly doubt Plumber and a freaking giant dinosaur is gonna be brawling it out in whatever Rainbow Road, whatever maps that they got. I don't even play Super Smash Bros. That much, but anyways. I got this game called Jump Force. That's like a bunch of, and it's another fighting game. But it's like, yeah, it's a bunch of anime characters with superpowers, like throwing magic balls at people. I highly doubt that that's going to cause anybody to go crazy. Minecraft, you're building stuff. Come on now. That's like the most rated E game ever made. Another fighting game. I got a lot of fighting games. I don't even know why. But Naruto. Yeah, it's once again another one of those games where you got superpowers, but you're fighting and things. Highly doubt that that's going to encourage anybody to go out and do some crazy stuff. I got this game called Car Mechanic Simulator. If this is like one of the games that they bring up and what's making our kids mental, I don't understand how building a car or fixing parts on a car is going to, like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, when they're saying video games are to blame, and I'm out here playing Car Mechanic Simulator, like, be real, man. Come on. Battlefield 5. Yeah, you're playing as, like, a war hero or something, killing off, like, Nazis and freaking other bad people. So, yeah, highly doubt that this game is going to be it. Trials Rising. That's a dirt bike racing game. But it's rated teen because it's like they have, like, what is it? Mild suggestive themes and mild violence. Like, yeah, it's just you just like flopping really hard or falling off of a dirt bike at like 100 feet in the air. Mario Kart, Mario Kart. Like, that's no way that's the game that's taking making everybody going crazy. What else? I got Saints Row the Third. Saints Row is pretty much like another Grand Theft Auto game, but it's seriously like one of the most like comedy games out there. If anything, a kid's gonna get a laugh out of playing this game. But I guess like in a way it might be bad because you're playing as like a gang leader and stuff, but you're taking out bad guys. So overall, like, yeah, you're taking out bad guys. Super Mario Maker, no way that game is bad. Once again, it's another one of these, like, any Mario game by default is not bad. Alright, so I don't think I have any other Mario games. But, yeah, any Mario game is not bad. Next game, Ace Combat 7. another war game. You're in a jet and you're just going out taking terrorists and bad people and stuff. L.A. Noire. L.A. Noire is probably the most like, so no, you're playing as a cop. Period. Like, I don't see how they can say that this game is bad. You're playing as you play as a detective, solve crimes. Like, honestly, I think I'd rather have my kid play a game like that. It might teach him something or anything. But I don't know. Mortal Kombat, the game, it's like, even though it's rated M and they be having some like gory stuff, come on now, kids live for these type of fighting games and things. If anything, they just practice, or they just be playing these games at the playground with their friends. Like, that's about it. Or like, yeah, it's they play online with their friends. But I highly doubt that, yeah, ripping a person's spine out of their stomach, like, I no. First off, a person won't even allow you to do some stuff like that. Generation Zero, you're killing robots, alright? So unless like killing robots is a crime, then then probably that'd be a bad game. But I think if the robots are shooting at you now and wiped out all of Sweden, I think you have a right to kill these robots. Rage 2. This game starts off with like all these like monstrous people killing your friends. You have every right to play this game in a bunch of it ain't a bad game overall. In World War Z, you're killing zombies. So if any of those games are bad and kids shouldn't be playing them and stuff, then it's like, why is it that? And these were games like these type of games that like all of the rated M games that I named off. These were games I was playing when I was a kid. Like, I was playing Grand Theft Auto when I was a kid. I was playing a bunch of shooting games when I was a kid. I'm 22 years old now, going on 23 in a few days. And never once did I decide, I'm going to go out and buy a gun. I'm going to go and shoot random people. I'm going to shoot random kids. Why would I do that? What would be the reason for that? Like, it's like, even saying stuff like that, it's just like, it's upsetting. I just don't like overall talking about stuff like this. First, I don't feel comfortable. Second, it's like, it just like gets me frustrated and upset. And it's like, yeah, it's just stupid that people act like this. And then you got those out there blaming video games. Like, man, it's like this world, so much going on, man. So much going on. And people just seem to think like, oh, let's blame like the one thing that has absolutely nothing to do with it. Let's blame that. So, anyways, guess I'll talk to you guys later. If you've been enjoying the podcast, I appreciate it. This is just one of the more serious episodes that I know I'm just gonna it's one of the many serious episodes I'm gonna be recording, but yeah, sad that stuff like this has to happen. Prayers out to everybody that was involved in this mass shooting. I really hope that they can get through this. But it's just overall sad that stuff like this happens. So I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for listening, and hopefully you watch this or listen to this podcast and understand, like, you have people out here defending video games. So obviously video games, if you got people out there defending them, then obviously it's like, yeah. But I'm not saying like everything deserves in the defense and stuff, but I'm just saying like, it's just something like this where I feel like that this is this Kevin McCarthy or whatever his name is. This is his own personal hatred that he has for video games. So he's gonna use whatever story that he can take, all right, to go and just like make it just like, oh, like, yeah, video games is horrible, they're bad, and it's like, yeah, it's these mass shootings and mass shooters, they're playing these video games, and that's why it's like, no, dude. Like, these guys got something going on upstairs, so that's what we gotta focus on, and hopefully, like, we can, like, help these guys out so stuff like this won't be, like, happening again and things. But anyways, yeah, talk to you guys later. Thank you for listening, and peace.